Hello, caregivers. My name is Nurse T, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I want to share with you 7 things that you should know about your elderly loved one's finances. What do you do when you suddenly have to take over or manage your parents' finances? What happens when mom or dad become incompetent or ill? Someone has to pay their bills. Someone has to manage their money. If or when this happens, are you prepared? No worries. I want to help you by sharing these 7 tips with you and allowing you to share your tips with me. Tip number 1, make sure. Let's start by having an honest conversation with your loved one about their financial commitments as well as their legal affairs. Please have this discussion with your loved one. Document their information on a spreadsheet. Create you a spreadsheet with a column for the company's name or the payer's name, the address. The next column should have the phone and email or contact information. The next column, the amount that's due on the bill's due date in the next column, and the next column should have comments. Next, I want you to calculate those monthly expenses to be sure that you have enough income coming in from mom or dad or whoever your loved one is to pay the bills. You need to have a separate spreadsheet with all of their online accounts and passwords, or when you create the online accounts and passwords, make sure you have a separate confidential spreadsheet for that. Tip number 2, have you designated a POA, a power of attorney? This is your next step. You must name someone as the power of attorney for finances or medical care, okay? Please, this is a must. If your parent becomes incompetent without a POA in place, you will have to go to court and seek guardianship and conservatorship over them to assess their documents, their accounts on their behalf, okay? Now, tip number 3, where do they keep their financial records? Please make sure you know this. Do they keep their money at a financial institution, in a bank, in a safe? You may laugh, but it's true. You can ask, do they keep it under a mattress, under their pillow, in their pillowcase? Some of our seniors don't believe in going to banks. Do you know they still hide money under their mattress in like an actual pillowcase? So be very careful. Your loved one may have money stored there because they don't trust the bank. You must find where to find their records, identify where they are kept because you will need them. Ask them where the codes are and the keys are to lock boxes and the safe, and put that on your confidential spreadsheet, okay? Tip number 4, I want you to identify what is their annual income. You need to know their annual income. Where does it come from? Find out if your parents receive a monthly pension from their job because they're retired. And if they do, how much is that monthly pension? Do they have dividends coming from any investment accounts, okay? Do they get alimony or money for a disability? That's important and another source of income. How much Social Security do they have monthly? How much do they receive from Social Security monthly? Do they have a whole or a term life insurance policy? Depending on the policy, you may be able to borrow from that policy, especially if it's a whole life policy, to provide quality care for those loved ones. Do they have long-term care insurance would be number 5. So next, number 5, do they have long-term care insurance? If so, you need to call to find out, is it through Bankers Life? Is it through Liberty Mutual? Is it through Colonial Penn, Genworth? Who is it? New York Life? Who is it through? But you need to call and see what that long-term care insurance policy covers. Please understand, guys, that a regular health insurance policy, or a HMO, does not cover the cost of senior living. It does not cover adult daycare. It does not cover home care. So if they have a long-term care policy to cover their long-term care expenses, this will need to be used only for that. So that means in order to use, you need to use it for transportation to medical appointments. You need to use it for home care if you have a caregiver that you need to pay, adult daycare, okay? But that will help relieve you from your everyday caregiving, okay? Now, In the long-term care, those are pre-tax dollars that they paid into when they were younger. So I need you to get that money to cover these services that they can receive. Okay? Now, if they do not have a policy and they can no longer live on their own, what will they be able to do? What can they afford? How can they afford to live in the housing? So you need to figure out what can they afford if they don't have that long-term care policy that they paid into when they were working. Number 6, very important, what you need to know and verify with them in this discussion, what type of healthcare insurance do they have, aside from Medicare and Medicaid, okay? They may have healthcare insurance that is provided by their provider. Do they have health insurance provided by employer? When they retire, were their health benefits included as part of their pension? So do they receive it? A lot of people who retire from the big 3, they were able years ago to still be covered until they made their transition. Do they receive health care through the Veterans Administration, TRICARE? If they receive that, you need to be aware of that. Or you need to ask, do they have straight Medicare or any type of Medicare Advantage plan? Please make sure you are aware. Do they pay for Medigap plan or a Part D plan? I talked about that in my other YouTube video of the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. So you need to know if they have a Medigap plan or a Part D plan. And you also need to write down what are their copays. What are their copays to see specialists like a cardiologist, a radiologist, a pulmonary doctor, an endocrinologist. You need to know what are their copays for specialty doctors and what are their copays for internal medicine or primary care doctors, okay? That needs to be written down. Tip number 7, do they have an accountant, an attorney, or a financial planner? Very important. You all have to find out if they have these. Who are they? You have to know what is their contact and call them and introduce yourself to them while mom or dad or your loved one is well, competent, alive, working well, feeling good, excited, still moving around. Do not wait till it's too late until they're in the ICU or hospitalized. So if so, add their contacts to your spreadsheet and be sure that you know exactly where they store this info. And like I said, introduce yourself, take your loved one to their office and try to meet them. I have shared with you 7 tips for managing your elderly loved one's finances. If you have learned something new, please comment below. And please like this video, subscribe, click the alert button in the bottom, and also share this with as many caregivers as you know. Please visit us at Farmington Hills AdultDaycare.com. Again, that's Farmington Hills AdultDaycare.com, or contact us at 248-313-2275. Thank you.